The question is, who thinks prospecting is important? It's the cornerstone of every business. So everyone take out your cell phones really quick, or wherever you use for your calendar. And let's go to next Wednesday. Just
next
pick a
Wednesday.
Day, the 13th.
The 13th.
And so what do you have on your calendar on Wednesday? Do you have prospecting blocked off on your calendar?
I do not.
Do you have prospecting calendar? No? Anyone here have prospecting on their calendar blocked off?
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
So if we don't block off, if we don't block off time to prospect, to call new leads, to call past clients, to call or follow up on past conversations that you've had, how will you make sure you get enough calls done in a day?
Yeah. And it goes along with the conversation about writing things down. If you have it right down in your calendar, it's like you're talking to your subconscious that you have. It's an activity that you have to do. Same thing like putting down. Even if you are used to going to the gym in the morning, have it in your calendar too. So it's part of your routine. I was talking to Melinda. A lot of my business come from investors and referrals, personal referrals. I'm not a cold caller, but she asked me, do you still do your calls in the morning? And I said, yes.
So who do you call if you don't prospect?
Any leads that I have a database that with previous leads, any new leads that comes in, underwriting deals, I do that, all that heavy work, I do it in the morning. For example, you send me a deal, Brian, I think this can be a good investment deal. I can underwrite it at that time and then give you a call and give you a cash offer. That's my prospecting time, because that's the way that my business is set up. For you, it's cold calling, that should be the time.
What time do you do that?
In the morning, the first hours in the morning, talking about anywhere between.
Things you hate first.
Yeah, get it out of the way. So that way, coaching calls, appointments, any networking event, whatever you want to do, happy hours, just leave it for the rest of the day.
Well, for you, you're a salesperson, so you're doing it technically the whole day. But everybody else, we don't just do selling all day. We have to then service the clients. We have to market our business. We have to do all these appointments, with the inspectors or the appraisers, or showing appointments or whatever is going on. So that's actually doing the work. And especially if you're an agent that's working by yourself and you're the only one doing it at all, you really need to protect that time, because otherwise you will have the ups and downs.
Well, that's admin work. I call it admin work, right? Because that's not really prospecting. Right.
Exactly. So you have to protect prospecting time, however that looks like for you.
When you can leverage your admin time, you have the time to prospect and look for leads.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If you don't have a calendar, you will be in somebody else's calendar.
I come from KW, and she does too. And they
I do
say
too, yeah.
if it's not on
In your calendar, it doesn't
then
exist.
it's-
The ball lost. I memorized it once too. They're so good.
Yeah.
But that's another good one. If you don't have a calendar, it doesn't exist. But if it's not in your calendar, if you don't have a calendar, you're in somebody else's calendar. Somebody else
I
is
still
booking.
have mommy brain, so I literally have to write down like what kind of groceries I need through the day, because if not, I go to Whole Foods and I'm like, okay, what am I here for?
Yeah.
Then I get a phone call from a client, and it's like
Yeah.
all over the place.
But talking about prospecting, I want to go around real quick. Where do you get your business from? For example, I said it, investors and personal referrals. That's my main sources. Where do you get your business from?
Personal referrals.
Personal referrals? Personal referrals?
I'd say, 70 to 80% is referrals.
Okay.
A little bit on social media.
Which translate into personal referrals too?
With that? I don't know.
Are those warm leads, people that you know that comes through?
No, or people that I don't
Okay.
know, they just see, and then they sent me code, hey, talk to them.
Awesome.
Agent to agent referrals, social media, both personal and non-personal,
Okay.
and
So
past clients.
personal and professional referrals, like
Right.
agent referrals,
Yeah.
mostly. Past clients. Most of your business come from past clients.
Me, I have like
A bunch of
25 channels,
Yeah, channels.
probably. But that's because of the different things that we do. So there's different ways to generate each type and understanding. But even past clients requires a systematic approach. We
Yeah.
can't just say, oh yeah, I get referrals And so let me just wait for the referrals to come.
Yeah.
Right?
So
Things to get
Right.
them to call.
To remember you, to call you, check in on them, send them something, right? Now's the time a lot of agents, have a little something, the pies or whatever's going on now for Thanksgiving.
Past clients too, that's
Past
considered
clients.
so
personal.
majority, yeah, which past clients, it's another way of referrals.
Yeah.
It's referrals.
But you're also prospecting, because I like to call my past clients, because
Yes.
people do business with people they trust.
Now that's what I was going to. Does anybody else has a second referral source, like a second business source?
Well, I try to go for like the unorthodox stuff, but obviously my main book of business should be realtors, but I try to go where there's less competition. Like I get a lot of deals from CPAs,
Okay.
divorce attorneys, and
Love
credit
that.
repair people.
Yes, love that.
So I try to stay away from the realtors.
Yes.
Well,
So
not
that-
stay away, obviously I need them, but
Yeah.
people are attacking those kind of.
And the reason I ask is because you're gonna need it. I mean, especially that's great that all of our businesses mostly is for referrals, but you gotta wait for the phone to ring, And if you're gonna wait for that, again, knowing that there's gonna be less transactions, you're gonna have to wait for a while.
Well, I think that was what I was getting to, is like, you don't have to wait for the phone to ring.
Right.
Your referral sources, whether they're other agents, whether they're professionals, whether they're past clients, you prospecting time, if you have no hot leads or
Yeah.
warm leads or even cold leads to call anymore because you've been through them already that week, calling referral sources and just to check in on them and remind them
Yep.
about you, right? That can just that in and of itself can trigger them. Oh, you know what? So and so just told me this and that, and you'd be surprised how much. And but being genuine about it and
Yeah.
giving a shit about who you're calling and seeing if there's anything that you can offer them, if what they're going through, and if they need a referral to someone sometimes too, right? Like, oh, you know what? I'm doing this. Oh, you know what? I got a guy.
Yes.
Because giving referrals leads you to getting referrals, and that's the whole giver's gain kind of strategy.
And that's the difference between being reactive and proactive.
Yes.
Because if you're just waiting around, waiting for someone to pick up the phone and call you, you're reacting to it coming in. But if you're actually going out there on the hunt for the business, then now you're being proactive.
That's why it's essential to survival, to some extent, to add a second or third source of business. Melinda has 20 something, you know what I mean? Like, you just need 2 or 3 in your real estate business.
Yeah.
It could be cold calling, that's an active way. It could be networking, but you have to go out and take the time to go to those networking events. It could be,
Not net socializing.
yeah, that's, unless you're doing a ton of
I'm more
advertising.
intentional about that. Like I never go to any working events.
So
Yeah.
the coaching program we're in, it requires 2 appointments or 4? 2 every half hour.
Yeah.
So not appointments or like saying, hey, I'll reach out to you next week. What's a good, will you take my call? Yeah, sure, of course. No. Okay, great.
When
You
you're
have
at
4
an
of
event,
those.
Got it.
When
How
you're
many
like at a
you
networking
think?
event.
I never need 2 for every half hour.
Yeah, no, I
That's
need
a
to be
good
more
rule.
intentional about that. I just
Otherwise, what are
honestly,
you
like-
doing there? You're just spending away time away from your family, making yourself tired.
Well,
Or
that's
if
what
you're
I'm
if you're
saying.
hanging out, then be real with yourself. And
Then your family is gonna book you in their
Like,
calendar.
After hours, because to me, my family time
But
is a
that's
non-negotiable.
what got me a $1 million client.
But it's not about working more. It's just being intentional with
Right,
the time that you're
intentional,
dedicating.
right.
I don't
You're
pick.
not going there to party, drink, and eat up all the food. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, you can if you want to, but like.
no,
you're
if
going
you
there-
are, it's okay. Just be real with yourself.
Right.
That that's
Yeah.
what you're doing.
Right.
Right, no.
If you're going to hang out with friends, that's fine.
What does it mean when working on Nexus Flex?
Net socializing is you're just going to an industry event to hang out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the end you're gonna.
Yeah, but if you're going to hang out, you're not going to leave with the production.
Yeah, but what we
that you're
start the
looking for.
conversation, and the conversation is like, hey, how you been? How's your family doing?
Mm-hmm.
And then we start getting to the business.
Yeah, but then,
Yeah, I think
but
that
then
when
that's
you
not
structure the
net.
event is different than
that's-
networking versus.
Just saying, if you're not being intentional with why you're there and what you're doing, you're not gonna get the value out of it.
Just to give you an example, I went to a networking event like a couple weeks ago. I drove all the way from Colorado Springs to Fort Lauderdale, 40-minute drive. I get there. I feel that it was a real estate event. I feel that most people there were more. They weren't in the networking attitude. They were just partying. And I left
Yeah.
because it wasn't what I was looking for. So if I'm gonna take all that time on my day on a Wednesday or a Thursday night, and all these people are literally drinking. All of them were just like drinking. That wasn't what I went for. Now, if I wanted to drink, I go to another place. So that's what we're talking about intentionality. Can you meet and mingle and build relationships in the same place? You could. It's just that you have to be the intention. You have to have the intention of what you're going for.
Yeah. I did this very unintentionally. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to this networking event, but I wouldn't go with a strategic plan. I wouldn't go with any intentions. And then I ended up just hanging out with my friends.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I need to change that, right? And be more intentional. Otherwise, let me be real about what I'm doing and why I'm going there, and that I'm gonna not be home with my family and I'm gonna go hang out with my friends. That's okay too, but just be
Right.
honest about it, especially if you have young kids, you know what I mean?
Well, that's why when I first got into this business, I went to the Tom Ferry Summit in Vegas by myself. I didn't tell anybody I was going. I didn't want any friends going with me because I knew that if I went,
Yeah.
I was going to be in my little clique. And what was the point? I spent all this money to come here to do what? Right? So I went by myself, literally went from the airport to the hotel, never left the hotel, did everything in the hotel. The conference was there. Every night went back to my room. You know, didn't drink, didn't party, nothing. I went with one intention only.
Yes.
I did it that time, and then another time for the Sales Edge in Orlando, same thing. And I built referral partner relationships with agents that I met at those events. But I'd rather go by myself.
Really?
And you can do that. You can do that with your personal time. After 7 p.m., that's my cutoff time. I don't pick up the phone, anybody. No clients, no one. Because that's my time.
Right,
So you can do that with your personal time too.
right.
Any questions with that?
Making sure that when you do have those sales conversations, you are primed and ready to have those conversations. And so capturing some time in your week to role play is really, really crucial, especially if you're having different conversations than you used to have before, or if you're newer, or just keeping sharp, right?
Yep.
Because the landscape changes, and so the conversations change, and the objections will change, and so the conversations
Yep.
will change.
This one talks about role play. We talk about that.
Yeah.
Role playing, guys, more than ever, you need to know what to say. You have to incorporate that on a daily basis, 4 or 5 times a week. I do it every morning for the past 2 years. I've been role playing. Mind you, I've been doing this for 10 years and I'm still role playing. Because the people change, but the conversations do not change. People are gonna ask you the same things. What is your commission? How long is your agreement for? It's probably 6 or 7, just phrased differently. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if you want to join, and we can talk about it later, a role play group that we have, let me know.
It's really important, right, to ask for the business, ask for the referrals, ask for the listing, all that. So yeah, just making sure you're fine-tuned for that. And so I'll be making sure, if we don't already work together, to be doing just that.
Yeah.
We'll be doing that later, although I work with a lot of you already. So marketing. Okay, so marketing. Now we know how many leads we need. How do we get those leads? Because in prospecting, is it a sales thing or is it a marketing thing? I don't really care what department
Sales.
you put it on, but I would say
Prospecting
more
is
sales,
sales.
like getting the appointments. But marketing is how to get those prospects, how to get those leads. And we've touched on some of those things about social media, going to events and marketing. And so let's switch to the next slide. Understanding who your ideal client is or where your business is coming from is crucial to help you create the strategy. So in my business plan, we have different strategies to get the leads that I need my sales team to have, right? So did you guys build out what your marketing strategies will be in your plan?
Marketing what?
Marketing
Channels?
strategy or
Yes.
channels or whatever you want to call it.
Does anybody has an idea? Has anybody worked on anything in marketing? I mean, I'll start. My focus, and if you follow me on social media, you realize that I spend a lot of time, resources, and energy on social media. Even all these things is being recorded, it will be edited, and it will be posted on social media. I have a team that does that for me, but it didn't start that way. It started that a couple of years ago. It was literally just myself recording the videos, editing the videos, and posting myself. Why social media? Because everybody is in social media. It's registered that majority of people spend, or the average person spends 2 to 3 hours. That's cell phone time and most of that time is spent in social media. So that's why it's important, and that's what I realized, that okay, a lot of my energy, resources, and time is going to be focused on social media. So I have a full, and Natalie, I know that I can
Also,
expand on that
I'm
too.
gonna piggyback on that. So imagine, we just talked about prospecting and blocking out time in your day to prospect, right? Let's say you block out 2-3 hours of prospecting, okay? That is a one-on-one, right? And you're gonna have to make X amount of phone calls before somebody picks up, before somebody says yes. And I'm not saying no to prospecting, even though I don't really do it myself,
Yeah.
but social media makes you money while you're sleeping. Okay, because now you continue to post videos and that continues to reach more and more and more and more people given the algorithm, however it changes. So if you're constantly posting videos and giving out value, you can potentially be making money while you're sleeping, right? You don't need to be doing those call after call after call, what Mojo diner, this diner, whatever the heck diner, you know, people calling you out, screaming at you on the phone. No, just post videos.
Yeah.
Post videos. I mean, everybody knows something that somebody doesn't know, right? So what do people want to hear about? What do people want to learn? Post it on social media. Even if sometimes you say things that are wrong, not encouraging you to, but if you make a little mistake, okay, somebody's going to call you out on it, and your comments and the engagement are still going to push you further with the
Yeah.
algorithms. So like, it's not a bad thing. Don't be scared.
Luis, we have talked a lot about that.
Yeah, I agree for that.
Yeah.
I'm here for that.
For that, social media. Okay, so what are questions, concerns about social media that you have?
At this moment,
So, as someone who has 3 accounts, I have 2 companies, and then I have my personal account. We have to create existence of the, if you're a business owner, you do need to create an existence of your business. And if it's not on social media, it's like it doesn't exist. But I do have my personal account, which connects me to my businesses, but also shows me personally. So depending on the business type, as a realtor, you could have one.
Right.
But as a restaurant owner and maybe and having the business of a restaurant, you can connect the two and collaborate the 2 accounts to grow. Because people will connect with you personally and relate to you and then use your business because of that, as compared, but when someone searches your restaurant, they need to see proof of concept that you actually exist.
of course.
And so there's a bit of both, right? So do you want to give a specific example about your business and personal, what your structure is? You want to separate the companies?
Yeah.
I would say have different social media pages for each company separately, but have one of you as the brand promoting these the same way she just said. She has her personal page and she has pages for her different companies, but at the end of the day, it's her brand. It's her. She's the one backing all of these companies.
And a lot of times, now you can do collaboration posts. So if
Right.
there's something that's relevant to one business or both, then I'll share it on all of them. If it's
Right.
relevant just to me personally, then I'll make it personal. If something that's relevant to just maybe one, and so you can use the same content sometimes on multiple pages and to cross-pollinate
Right.
followings. But a lot of times, if you are, it depends. Like if you think that it's 2 separate specialties that you think someone will not hire you because you do one versus the other. But if it's sometimes if it's all in construction, like my law firm does closings, but it also does estate plan and it also does probate. At the end of the day, I decided not to separate out those different practice areas with different firms because it's all under death and dirt.
So there's not.
And so there's ability to cross-pollinate, but maybe for you, if that's not possible, then you separate them out.
So there's no perfect way to do it. There's better ways to do it, but the way that doesn't work is the one that you don't do.
Do anything.
If you don't do anything, then it was not going to work. So you have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
You have to start somewhere. So regardless of the service, you want to do separate accounts, that's great. What he said, I agree with him. You have to bring it back to story. People connect better with
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
So if you put even if you want to have 2 completely companies, you can be the face of both and show yourself there. Do content. The name of the game is attention. You want to bring attention some way, somehow. It could be entertainment, it could be educational, it could be both. preferably, but you want to bring attention. You've probably seen in TikTok's videos, people advertising in so many creative ways, funny ways, the most difficult products, anything. But you just gotta have fun at the end, you know. And in your case, you do a lot of construction. You don't realize, and I have friends that they also other friends that do construction, and they come with the same theme. What should I post about? You have the beauty that people love the before and afters. If you go to ChatGPT, what is the content that people look for the most? In real estate in general, is before and after. Before and after in displaying properties. Those are the two ones.
Everybody loves HGTV stuff.
Yeah.
That's all the rave.
But you can have one account that co-brands both branches of your business. If you're having a hard time putting out content on one account, don't create 3 accounts.
Right.
Just build one to start, and then you can branch off. Because I feel like it becomes a lot.
Yeah.
I have a lot of people helping me with the 3 accounts.
Just start, and later on, you just trust me, you're gonna figure it out.
And just to finish it off, us as salespeople, we are our own brand. Like you see me and you don't know what company I work for, right? Of course not. You know what company she works for. You don't know what company he works for. Nobody does, right? Because we sell the houses. The company doesn't sell the house, right? People do business with me because they like, know, and trust me, not because they like, know, and trust my company.
Yeah.
So that's why
good.
you need to be the brand.
There's going to be agents that have millions of followers, but they might have more followers than
Right.
Keller Williams
Right.
or whoever. Right? Have you ever seen like a viral plumbing company page? It's
Right.
never going to happen, right?
Right.
But that doesn't mean you can't push business to that company through
Right.
your personal brand.
Yeah, because the reality is that people are not going to be looking on Instagram to hire a restoration company, right? That's not the way business gets generated in that business. My family's little in construction, so I kind of know. Like, maybe a consumer looking to redo their windows in their home or something, maybe they'll be looking on social
Yeah.
media for something. But companies, if it's a company that's hiring you, it's not going to be on Instagram, probably not even Facebook, maybe on LinkedIn, but it's going to be a different marketing strategy because who's hiring you?
So this first name of the game is attention. The second name, or the last name, is monetization. How can you translate that into business? Just because you have the attention doesn't mean that you're the one that makes the most money. You mentioned, he doesn't have a lot of followers. Well, a lot of followers, even views, doesn't translate into it.
Yeah.
So sometimes we get caught up into that, into how many followers, views are gonna get about it. Just the presence itself, they make a huge difference too. So it's something to think about. There's value, collaboration too. Let's say that she was saying, you're not gonna look for a construction company on social media. But let's say that a lot of your business come from realtors. You can do collaborations in social media with realtors and get exposed to their audience too, because those realtors might have other referrals for you. So those are things that you can do. There's some unlimited stuff that you can do to get attention. But focus on that, but you have to start somewhere. A lot has to do with insecurity and being afraid of being in the camera and what to do, what to say, and how I want to look like. You have to get over that first and then figure it out little by little.
And I am really quickly, my idea is everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Like, why can't we just kumbaya, right? But that's not how other people feel.
Right.
And I'm
Take
not,
it to heart.
right, and why
Take it
am I gonna
personal.
hurt my pocket from my opinion?
Yeah.
No, look, there's a saying in Spanish that says, calladita me veo más bonita. Quiet, I look prettier.
Yeah.
And
No, that's true.
make more money.
So I agree. Democrats and Republicans and Liberals, anybody buys houses.
Yeah.
So if you start posting, then you might lose clientele.
Right.
At the same time, even if you are very passionate about it, want to make a post, it's just the nastiness. When you start posting and offending people, that's where it gets crazy. And regardless of what you post or what you believe, even if it's religion, you gotta realize that you're gonna bring people to your circle, your ecosystem, and you're gonna push people away.
Right.
And you cannot be afraid of that.
Right.
It gets out of control when you're too nasty when you believe and offend other people.
Right.
You can say, I voted for this person. You can say, I believe in this God. That's your belief. You can do that. Nothing against it. But when you start to impose your belief over others and offending, that's when it gets...
Right, for sure. No.
But
Just putting your opinion out there, I think, to me,
It
is
is
just
controversial.
monetizing on your pocket is just hurting.
But at the same time, like if you in all aspects of life, like there's always gonna be people that don't like you and people that do like you.
Yeah.
It's inevitable. So like I would stay away from it, but at the same time there's people like you could build a core audience around it. So like if you're a Buddhist, maybe and you go by, right, maybe all the Buddhists buy from you.
Yeah, no, it's true.
They're gonna connect with you rather than like trying to be, you know, vanilla and never,
For sure.
never. You're gonna push some people
I'll
away,
make
of
crunchy
course,
buns.
but other
Yes.
people are gonna connect with you.
So the first thing I will say, is, like, I guess, and then we can
Yes,
move
yes.
on from this, but like, what's the purpose of your page? Is it to express your views, or like some people, like if it's personal, I'm expressing my views, this is what I want to do, it's fine. If it's for business, then you got to think twice about your strategic objection or for that post. It's always
Yeah.
like, what's the purpose of this? Is it to attract people or is it to get their attention? But then again, and so I just stay very quiet on anything controversial because that's just
Yeah,
always
me
been
too.
me.
Yeah.
However, if you get me in a room, I'll share you my opinions.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
on social media, no. For that reason.
Which I think I lost a referral partner yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Because it's stupidity. Why are you gonna text me and ask me who I voted for?
Really? Before
But it-
And you're not gonna lie about it.
I'm not gonna lie.
But backtracking, some people
People ask
with
questions
their
straightforward.
particular viewpoints and things, they make their own niche out of it,
Yeah.
and that's okay too
Yes.
if that's your
Right.
strategy,
Right.
right? Some people are like the Christian realtor or the this realtor, that
Yeah.
realtor. That's cool too, and you'll attract people who want to look for people
Correct,
like them or that have the
your
same
views
viewpoints.
and stuff, yeah.
Otherwise, it is what it is. I mean, you gotta pick and choose that.
Yes, yes. But social media is a big part. I'm glad that we talk about it, but it's not the only marketing tool. Again, attention is the name of the game, the first name, but the last name is monetization.